What's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the new Hus Kingpin and Roc C EP entitled The Hidden Painting. Let's get to it. This EP, The Hidden Painting, is a 5-track project from Hus Kingpin and Roc C. Hus Kingpin hails from the deserts of Hempstead, Long Island, while Roc C is coming out of Oxnard, California. Both artists have been getting busy for years, but Roc C has been making music since the early 2000s. Whereas Hus Kingpin's first album came out in 2013, but he is a very prolific artist, releasing multiple projects each year. In fact, it's really hard to keep up with all of his releases. I caught onto him a little late, but I know he has a work ethic that rivals Griselda in terms of his output. I mean, I believe he is on his 5th project this year. To keep it 100, I don't know a whole lot about Roc C, but he appears to have worked with a number of people like Raz Kaz, Big Pooh of Little Brother, Oh No, and Gang Green. He definitely has a standard West Coast flow and presence on tracks. Getting somewhat of a Cali Agents, Loot Pack, Dilated Peoples, and Alcoholics kind of vibe from him. He seems to be cut from that West Coast style of rhyming cloth. Hus Kingpin, on the other hand, has a very authentic New York sound. He will give off more of the Rock Marciano Griselda vibe with respect to his flow and his style of rhyming. I think the pairing of Hus Kingpin and Roc C makes sense since they both associate with some of the same artists and producers like Planet Asia, Madlib, and Alchemist. Plus, both artists also represent the underground sound despite being from two different parts of the map. I will say this project has more of a West Coast influence stylistically than it does an East Coast, but that's what makes it dope for me because you get Hus Kingpin bringing forth those grimy New York bars alongside Roc's cold and detached West Coast demeanor. So let's talk about the production. You have two standout producers on display, The Alchemist and Madlib, who each produce an individual track. You have Stu Bangas, Local Astronauts, and Day One. The last two guys I'm not familiar with, but each of the 5 beats were well produced. Like I said earlier, I was detecting somewhat of a West Coast underground influence on the majority of these beats, but I would also classify them as boom bap. But with that being said, let me hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The first song, What We Did, produced by Stu Bangas, has a pretty dope violin sample combined with some suspenseful synths. I'd say overall it's a dark and hard-hitting way for them to open up this project. Subject matter wise, they are talking about things they have either done or things they plan to do. There is some gun talk and threats of violence issued, but it's done with some creative wordplay. While I thought Roc had a solid verse, Hus Kingpin stood out the most. Hus Kingpin said, "Put her head in my lap, we call that a headlamp. The fish come stamped like moisture, little damp. Had the whole crew living proof, that's little dap. You a gang banger, I'm a gang star. Know a God when you see one. I lap brothers in my sleep, dream runs." So he is giving you some ill wordplay. Obviously, there's a group home living proof reference. Shout out to Little Dap as well as Gangstar. So all my 90s New York heads knows what's up. Roc C did say, "I resemble Bun B to a home intruder," which I thought was clever because we all know that Bun B was handy with the steel during that home invasion. But yeah, this first song was a strong opener for sure. The next song, Na Na Na, is an eerie boom bap record. It feels like it was made in a dungeon. I like the scratching, which gave it that pure hip hop feel, although I wasn't really feeling the na 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 refrain. Lyrically, they both do some braggadocious slick talk. Roc C states, "Y'all really don't improve. Your boy had it popping since Roc was cooking out the spoon." That's likely a reference to his name Roc and obviously that white shit. Hus Kingpin states, "My pen strokes in gun smoke, cut coke, fentanyl flow. Y'all dudes be getting robbed at your own show." So the bars were pretty witty here, especially the getting robbed at your own show part. I thought this was a cool track. I like the dark and grimy aesthetic to it, but I could have done without the hook. The following song, Scrimmage, is easily the most standout moment on the tape. We get a really raw and dirty sample loop from Madlib, which almost sounds like a break beat. There's a record crackling sound effect. It gives off that crate digging vibe for sure. And that's something that Madlib does best, is to provide those rugged and lo-fi beats that have more of that old school sound. Hus Kingpin also comes through with some more slick wordplay with Onyx ad-libs. Yo, that's a Madlib. I mean, it's so simple yet so ill. The rest of his verse was actually fire too. His imagery was really colorful. This song also has Fashawn, who had a dope verse. Now, Fashawn has been kind of quiet, but I recall when he was buzzing a few years back, the line that stood out the most from him was, "Your budget was nonsense. Lucky I've been rhyming. Serena Williams, we got nothing in common." But yeah, this joint Scrimmage was definitely the hardest song on this tape. What follows is the storytelling track Face Mask. Now, they slow the tempo down and mellow things out a little bit. This has somewhat of a somber and ghostly instrumental, but the drum patterns are really crisp. Basically, this is a cautionary tale from both Roc C and Hus Kingpin about a regular guy who lost it all chasing after the wrong type of girl who was all about the fast life. I thought both of them painted a picture pretty well. Both their verses were vivid, so I can respect their efforts here, as this was a dope storytelling track. Then the final song, Fight Club, has some vintage sounding Alchemist production. I want to say that this beat sounds like the type of instrumentals that he would have made for Defari and Dilated Peoples back in the day. I like the eerie yet electrifying synths, the piano, and the sound of the crowd applauding. It sounds like they are rhyming at some main event or like an amphitheater. This features the legendary West Coast spitter Corrupt, who sounds like he freestyled his whole verse, because I can't say this is one of his stronger performances. I haven't heard him in a while, but I was enticed when I saw his name on the track list, especially on top of an Alchemist beat. I would say this is probably my second favorite track due to the instrumental, but I also thought Roc C and Hus Kingpin delivered solid verses. It was cool to hear Corrupt since he's a legend, but his flow sounded slower and his voice sounded a little hoarser. Overall, I give this a rating of 3.5 out of 5. It's kind of hard for me to rate a 5-song EP because there isn't a whole lot of material to work with. I did pretty much enjoy every song. It was a nice tight collection of raw and uncut hip-hop songs, but at the end of the day, it was more so an appetizer to showcase what Hus Kingpin and Roc C have been cooking up. I think they had a decent chemistry together. This had an East Coast meets West Coast feel, in my opinion. Although sonically there was more of a West Coast presence, it almost sounded as if Hus Kingpin adapted more to suit Roc C, which I had no problem with. So I plan to go back and check out Roc C's former projects, and I will also be on the lookout for more Hus Kingpin releases, as I know he's been killing it. My favorite tracks include What We Did, Scrimmage, and The Fight Club. Let me know what you thought of this project in the comment section below. What should I check out next? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Hus Kingpin, Roc C, The Hidden Painting, 1.